Hey everyone, Nat Daddy here. Here's the weekly book review for March 28th. There was a huge drop of books this week, and that led to a lot of books being read and a lot of books being reviewed. So I got 25 books here that are going to be reviewed, and like I said, there was a lot of great books this week. So let's start off with Howl. This is from Ahoy Comics, number 3. This is a series that's taking place in the 50s, and it's about these kind of fungus and mushroom aliens that are trying to take over the world, and it shows them infiltrating this one town. It's about this young Jewish woman and her, living through all this alien stuff, but also at the same time too dealing with all the social stuff that she has to deal with, being back in a woman and a single independent Jewish woman in the 50s and the 60s and that. So interesting book so far. Has a creepy kind of invasion of the body snatchers feel to it. So really liking this a lot. And it's got some really great artwork too. So check that out if you're kind of a horror fan. Next from Dynamite, we got the second issue of the Herculoids. I can't say it enough in every week how I love all these redos or these reboots of older properties and that, especially like these Hanna-Barbera old cartoons, this and Space Ghost. So really liking this here. I love this cover here too, especially how with the gloop monsters here, you can actually see like a skull inside there. So that's kind of cool. I really enjoyed that. Nice little touch. A few other covers here. Like I said, Hercules was a great show when I was a kid. I didn't really remember it too much until I start reading it, and you don't really have to. So basically, it's about this space family. They live on this kind of prehistoric planet, and it's high in minerals and resources and that. And this so far in this book, this alien colony wants to take it over, and they defend it off. So you got some neat creatures in here. Like I said, you kind of have that space family Robinson kind of dynamic going on. Yeah, and it's great. Really enjoying this. Nice artwork. Nothing too complex. Pretty simple in that. Great for everybody. Do check that one out. The Herculoids from Dynamite. From Image, we got a one shot here. This is magazine plus size, so if everyone likes those formats. From Garth Ennis, kind of again another kind of horror book here. We have a story about all over the world, but especially in this one town, this one family we're focusing on in this neighborhood, where any kind of baby that's under 1 years old, all of a sudden like that, turns to this adult. And they become like these monsters because they can't take care of themselves. And they just lash out in that. So it shows this family dealing with their town being overrun and all this craziness going on with these babies that have turned into adults overnight. And it sounds kind of silly in that, but it turns out to be quite horrific. It's almost like zombies in that. You have a bunch of, fully grown adults walking around that don't know how to do anything and just have these primal urges. So really neat. Really enjoyed this. Very graphic and vulgar and lots of gore and nudity because it is by Garth Ennis, but truly a great book. I really enjoyed it. And again, quite creepy and horrific. So I could definitely see this being turned into a movie of some sorts. Another book from Dynamite they're doing a great job on this latest reboot on is The Terminator. Each issue kind of focuses on a standalone story. A lot of the times it takes place in certain time periods. This one, it shows the evolution of the T-600, how it starts off as a simple robot and how every time they try and update it and upgrade it, how it doesn't work and they take it back to the drawing board in advance. So it shows all the different models and how they improve upon it each time. So that's really cool. I really like this Terminator series so far. So lots of action, and it shows the T-600s being updated as they come across different obstacles. From DC, we have the 6th issue out of 10 of The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, a sequel to The Long Halloween. Each issue has a different artist. A lot of them are in the Sale kind of style. Joseph Loeb is doing the writing. And it's been, like I said, a hit and miss. A lot of times I don't care for this book, but the last couple of issues I do. Yeah, so if you've liked the other holiday stories, you'll probably like this as well too. They introduce Amanda Waller in there as well. We see a couple other villains in here too. We see Two-Face, Catwoman, and we see the introduction of Poison Ivy as well too. So Mr. Freeze. Just a pretty good Batman story so far. The big book that everyone's been waiting for this week. Tons of copies sold for that. Tons of variants for that is the new Batman. New team on it. Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee and Scott Williams back on it. This is the sequel to Hush, that acclaimed run from quite a few years ago now. And it's a good start. It's great art. Lots of action in here. We see a few of our favorites in Joker and Joker Fish. And we see the introduction of a new villain who is a I don't know if it's like a sidekick or if he's just someone that works with a partner with Hush. His name is Silence. When he speaks, he basically is almost like Black Bolt. It's very deafening. So good artwork, like I said, Jim Lee. And it kind of just sets up a few things that's going to be happening throughout this new arc. But again, if you enjoy Batman, Jim Lee stuff, and also if you enjoyed that Hush storyline from, I guess, decades ago now, you'll like this. From Mad Case Studios, we have the start of a new book called Far Down Below. Neat book here. I quite enjoyed it. Kind of has, again, more of a horror feel to it. It is about a couple guys that are bored, I would say, and they end up going to investigate this haunted house that this guy has in his family that no one has lived to in a long time. So they head over there and, of course, get themselves into some trouble in that this house does have a history. We see at the beginning of the story that there is kind of monsters or something involved. So good start so far. While these kids are running through the house and that, getting scared, they end up falling through the floor into like that lower level below that we see introduced in the beginning. It's kind of like a cave and that. So yeah, good start so far. Another neat book. This is from Oni Press. It's a one-shot. It's called Free for All. It's kind of a sarcastic look at modern times in the future, where billionaires and trillionaires and they kind of get randomly picked in a lottery system to help benefit the world. They have either a choice to donate half their wealth and just give it away type of thing to this organization that runs it all, or they can do like a gladiator fight to the death to keep hanging on to it. So we see some of this going on here too. This one fellow here, he's got 22 wins there. He's a businessman. And his latest fight turns out to be his wife, who he screwed over to get there and that. So it's a fight to death between these two former husband and wife, gladiator style. Yeah, it's kind of neat. A little gory in that because like it is some kind of gladiator games and that. Almost like that Running Man type of feel, that old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. But a good story. Neatly falls into a one-shot format. So really enjoyed this, and I could probably see this being turned into some kind of movie or streaming service. Kind of neat. That's Free for All from Oni. And G.I. Joe from Image, issue 315, The Real American Hero. This is the original ongoing run, not the Energon stuff. I've been enjoying this one too. Got a great cover here by Andy Kubert. We saw at the end of the last issue, Cobra kind of got defeated by G.I. Joe. They left. They're still fighting amongst themselves, but kind of putting things together. Destro does have Cobra Commander locked up in a dungeon, waiting to see what happens to the Baroness, who was wounded during the battle. So lots of cleanup going on between, like you said, Cobra and the Revenge, which is those robot AI-run army, which is kind of like a third antagonist. They're cleaning up all their zombie creatures and their robot creatures as well too, since they're no longer working with Cobra. And we see the Joe remembers, trying to get back to their base with Dr. Mindbender. So, continuing a good story so far. I've always enjoyed the G.I. Joe books. We got Godzilla versus Fantastic Four here. It amazes me how much Godzilla crosses over with all these different IPs. Godzilla and King Kong just fought the Justice League. I believe it was just last year or so, and I believe there's a sequel coming up to that. Now we have Godzilla versus all these different Marvel ones. The first one being Fantastic Four. We got Hulk and Thor and Spider-Man coming up as well. And again, another Adam Kubert cover. Lots of fun in this one too. I enjoyed it. It is basically the same thing that happens all the time when you get heroes meeting up. They end up fighting each other before they realize that they have to work together. And Godzilla and the Fantastic Four, after fighting for a little while, realize that they have to work together to stop Galactus, who's coming to try and take out the Earth once again. And he has King Ghidorah as his herald this time. And King Ghidorah is like an arch nemesis for Godzilla, for anybody who doesn't know it. So lots of silly fun here. Some pretty good artwork. I enjoyed it. It's as fun as it could be. Yeah, check it out if you like Godzilla, or if you like the Fantastic Four, or just want to see what happens. Issue 5 of DC's Justice League Unlimited. This has been an okay series so far. Basically, the Justice League has allowed pretty much every superhero in the DC universe to become a Justice League member now, and kind of has the satellite up in space where everybody comes and goes and gets all kind of controlled. I won't say controlled, but everyone gets run as efficiently as possible in that. They're still dealing with this Inferno cult / terrorist group that's going around causing all this havoc, and they do so as well here. We find out later in the issue here, not a huge spoiler because they have it on the color there, that the Legion of Doom is actually connected or maybe totally responsible as the Inferno group there. So a few things happen here that kind of are a little bit of surprises in that, especially seeing Lex Luthor back as a bad guy. But I always like the Legion of Doom. I'm a sucker of the old Super Friends stuff. It's what I grew up on. And so, yeah, if you've been enjoying this, you'll keep on enjoying it. And I believe Dan Moore is still doing the art on that as well. So, great art. From Mad Cave, we have issue 3 of Kill Train. Been enjoying this book so far. Kind of like a horror book where this future where to help deal with population control, every once in a while there's a lottery system where a random train, subway train, gets picked to be wiped out to help control the population control. So this one scenario happens where this woman is trying to get these people through the kill train without actually being killed in that. And as it's going on, she's kind of having a mental breakdown from her own personal traumatic experiences as well. So she's seeing things as they happen, but not inflected or influenced by her own trauma. So she's seeing a lot of kind of illusions that aren't really there. So, but the stuff is going on. So lots of graphic, lots of killing and maiming and that, and just kind of silly fun. But again, at the same time, this woman's dealing with all these tragic personal traumas as she's trying to lead these people through this train of killers. So lots of fun. I believe there's only one more issue to go. So From Dark Horse Comics, we have the first issue of a series called Our Brilliant Ruin, Horror at Crane Mansion. This is based off a tabletop role-playing game. I'm not aware of it at all, so I wasn't sure if I was going to need to read it. And nope, I jumped right in and it was fun to read. I didn't have to understand the universe before going in. Basically, it's almost like a Victorian world that has, I guess, kind of like monsters in there as well, supernatural stuff. So we see this woman detective showing up to a party that she's being invited to, but she's not well liked, I guess, by society because of her methods and who she is and being this detective. So she's trying to do some stuff that while she's been asked to be there, and we see that this monster stuff is going on all around as well. So these people have to kind of live this Victorian lifestyle amongst the threat of monsters. So enjoyed this book so far. Again, being only the first issue in, don't really know enough of the characters or the story to make a great opinion on it, but I did enjoy it so far, and I think I will read more of it just to find out more about this kind of Victorian supernatural murder mystery. I'm kind of curious about this game now, too. Issue 3 of Power Lords. This is the third and final issue. This is all part of that Nacelle universe where they've kind of linked and rebooted a bunch of things together. The Power Lords is one of them. Biker Mars from Mars. So the Sectors. So again, Biker Mars from Mars and Sectors I was super aware of. I really love the Sectors. Didn't know the Power Lords too much besides just knowing of their action figures from a kid. And I enjoyed this series. They're kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy team here, and it shows them fighting against these bad guys here, trying to seal a dimensional rift that's going to let them take over a universe, while the one main character is fighting to get his powers back from that same jewel. So that character is Adam Power. He's a human that when he touches this power crystal, he becomes the Power Lord there. So, and like I say, he has this team of like Guardian of the Galaxy type of members, and they're fun as well too. So, kind of like a He-Man meets Guardians of the Galaxy type of story. So, that's what I would compare it to for modern people. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed all of the Nacelle stuff, and looking forward to more of it. Issue 3 of the Seasons from Image. Rick Remender's doing this, and I've really enjoyed this. I enjoy the kind of fun, colorful art here. It's about 4 sisters, the Season sisters, winter, summer, autumn, and spring. Spring is the youngest of the sisters, and she lives with her older sister, Winter, who is very crabby all the time, and their family is somehow involved, and their parents are missing due to this kind of evil circus that goes from town to town, making people go missing, and that's kind of supernatural or something. So they're coming to town, or they're in town there, and spring season is trying to warn her family about this because she keeps hearing about it and seeing things, and nobody's listening to her, and everyone's just always crapping on her all the time. So this is a really fun book. Like I said, fun artwork in that, and it's just kind of neat to see what's going to happen with this evil circus that keeps showing up, trying to deal with or kill or take things from her family and that. So neat book so far. From The Mummy from Image, we got issue 1. This is the Universal Monster stuff. I'm a big fan of the Universal Monsters, so I really like the first few Dracula one. I enjoyed the Frankenstein one and the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Looking forward to this Mummy one, and it didn't disappoint. Really enjoyed the artwork on here, and the story's good too. It is basically almost like a right after sequel from the first Mummy, from what I believe. And it shows about this young girl who is kind of involved in current times, which is the 20s and that back then, people working on the expedition, and the original mummy time itself. So, like we've seen a lot of mummy stuff, it's almost like a reincarnation thing. And this expedition is happening, and this woman gets involved in it because, like I said, her and her family do kind of have like this involvement in it from the past. So, great start so far of just kind of a classic mummy story. So it does have a very good and familiar universal feel to it. So I enjoyed the start of this so far. All right, a few more books to go. Like I said, there was a lot this week. From Image, we have They're Taking Everyone Down With Us. This is kind of a fun, weird book here. I did enjoy the artwork on here. It kind of has that little bit of that thin, sketchy, scratchy line work to it, which goes great with color, especially in spooky stories. We have a young girl here who is always being taken care of by these robots that her father has made because he's a busy scientist, never has time for her, and is always quite mean to her in that because of it. So she's always kind of just not getting in trouble per se, but just being a kid trying to get his attention in that. And she ends up coming across some of his work, which ends up being kind of suspect in that. So what's going on there, we're not too sure in that. But like I said, this guy does get killed by an assassin, and the robots are kind of tasked to take care of this girl while this guy is, the scientist has been killed. So kind of neat. A little bit of stuff that needs to be, kind of fleshed out a little bit more as the story goes, just to probably make better sense of it. But neat so far. I liked it. Another kind of neat one from Image, because like I said, we had a ton of books this week, especially lots of great indie books, which I like. We have You'll Do Bad Things. It's about a serial killer. There's been a lot of books about those lately, and this is a kind of very graphic one. I really like the art in here, especially the coloring. It's about a guy who's a novelist. He wrote a hit book 10 years ago. It was a true crime book, and he's kind of done nothing since, and he's been coasting off that, and everyone's begging him for new work, but he doesn't want to do crime stuff anymore. He wants to just do like regular fiction and stuff. So every time he does try and write something, he ends up writing so the character ends up dying. He can't just help himself, and that ends up turning to be like a crime book type of thing. So he gets writer's block all the time, gets frustrated with this, and at the same time too, all these stories that he's writing and that are not working out for him, and that they start coming true in that. So these murders and that start happening in the same way. So kind of a neat book there. Makes me think of something that Stephen King once did. Issue 4 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. This has been a prequel series to the cartoon that was out a little while ago. I hadn't planned on reading this book, but then when I watched the series, I really enjoyed it, so I decided to check the book out, and it's been good so far too. Basically just like the cartoon, it introduces all the Spider-Man universe and its characters in this new reboot. So lots of fun here. We still see him in his kind of homemade Spider-Man costume doing what he can so far, and he's focusing on the Enforcers in this issue. So the Enforcers and Silvermane, who the Enforcers work for. So of course, being a young kid and a hothead, and he gets into trouble and bites off more than he can chew. So we'll see if he makes it out of it in the next issue. Great book for your kids to read if you're looking for something trying to get your kids into. Another one of the big books this week, we have the Absolute Martian Manhunter. Everyone's been loving this Absolute universe in DC, and this one was pretty good too. Really like the artwork in here. It kind of has like a psychedelic feel to it, psychedelic 60s type of feel. This book does take place, kind of in that time period, and it kind of has like that, detective noir feel to it. John Jones is a FBI agent. He's been working very hard lately, and he can't explain why he gets hurt and doesn't kind of die in that. But at the same time, too, as he's working, that he kind of gets these like visions going on and these weird kind of like shapes and smokes and stuff all around him, and nobody else sees it but him. So he starts to think he's probably losing it, going crazy. But what it is he is this alien. He's this Martian, and for I guess whatever reason, it's kind of somehow blocked it out. But it's becoming more and more aware to him. So you kind of see this all going on as he deals with his job and family life, and it's almost like a breakdown. So again, all psychedelic like. So great artwork so far. So neat new take on the Martian Manhunter, but still has a lot of familiarity on it. So again, that's what's been so great about these Absolute series. The new issue of Wonder Woman, same thing too. It shows Wonder Woman meeting with Hades and how she came to acquire all her weapons in that. So another great story, furthering along the new mythos of this new Wonder Woman. Shows her trying to free Prometheus from the chain from the rocks and that. So really great story. Lots of the mythology stuff that is used in here, and just this issue especially. I know it's not Haywood Sherman's work this time on the art, but some really nice, clean, realistic looking art that was just different from the first few issues. Although I like both arts, so this is really neat. Shows her fighting a basilisk. Quite good. Check that out if you haven't been. You've been missing some good stuff. This is the last issue of the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man story. It's also the last issue of this volume of Spider-Man. Next month they're going to start off with a brand new #1. Because that's what we need, is another #1 Amazing Spider-Man. I'm happy this is over. I did not enjoy this whole Juggernaut influenced Deaths of Spider-Man with Doctor Doom making him the magical warrior for Earth against the Cryotech. I think it's silly. I didn't care for it. They do show Spider-Man as the Spider Juggernaut here, and we've seen stuff like this before, like Spider Hulk and Cosmic Spider-Man and that. So nothing new really when it comes to stuff like that, but hopefully, like I said, this does tie off a lot of the other stuff, and the new series will be somewhat better. We got the beginning of a 5-issue series, and this is an ultra mature 17+ series. Do not let your kids see it. This is Peacemaker, Vigilante, and Eagly double feature. It is James Gunn doing his James Gunn Peacemaker characters, so that whole universe in a comic. Him doing it, and Tim Seeley. It's pretty cool. James Gunn's awesome, and I really like Tim Seeley. So it shows here Vigilante taking out 2 kind of minor crime bosses in that, in graphic ways. It shows him trying to be friends with with Peacemaker, getting wrapped up into something even if it's by accident. And it shows again to Peacemaker and Eagly dealing with stuff as well in another story. So 2 fun Peacemaker related stories that are going to be continuing on for 4 more issues. So not for kids definitely, but lots of fun. Issue 15 of Ultimate Spider-Man. We saw at the end of last issue that the Parkers are kind of on the run and kind of laying low for a little while, dealing with all the Craven stuff and the death of Harry. So they're kind of laying low on it. I think it's like Utah or Phoenix or something, with this bunch of other kind of camper people and that. And while they're out there, they discover the Sandman out there. So I do believe this is the introduction of the Sandman in this universe. And we have kind of a typical Spider-Man story. And his son is also like a Spider-Man wearing the black suit that's kind of like a nano suit type of thing. So they deal with that little Sandman issue, and then go back to kind of living on the run, the whole Parker family. So lastly, we got the Ultimate Wolverine #3. Like I said, I've been reading the Ultimate Spider-Man, and I haven't been reading too many of the other Ultimate ones from Marvel. I just didn't really enjoy them when I was reading them, but I'm really enjoying the Ultimate Wolverine here. He's not only the Wolverine, he's the Winter Soldier, and we see him being sent out to deal with problems. He is being controlled by this kind of these Russian mutants, Colossus and Magic and Mega Red. It's kind of using them as like I said, as a sleeper soldier type of thing, and he sends them out to deal with these other mutants and that, and it turns out to be Gambit and a few others. So it's kind of neat. They keep introducing new mutants into this Ultimate Universe, and like I said, I'm enjoying this so far. It is kind of a little shocking, a little bit graphic sometimes, some of the violence and that does happen in here, but I guess it is made for, like, the Ultimate stuff is made for a little bit more mature people, so been enjoying that as well too. Alright everybody, that's what I read this week, and there was a lot. I'm sure you guys had a lot to look through as well, and I hope you enjoyed what you did. Maybe you saw something here today that you weren't going to pick up, and now you will, and check it out. Hopefully you will, and support your LCS at the same time. Alright, ready? We'll see you next week for more reviews. Peace out.